ਸਾਡੀ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਚੌਂਕੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸਾਂ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਪੰਨਾ 16 ਦਾ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਔਰ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਨਾ 16 ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. So last week it was the page 15 and this week some missing things on page 16. This particular hymn is a very, very important one, a little difficult one, as well as very much quoted but not very well understood. So I would request that we need to be very much focused on this to understand this. In Sikhism, there is a major disagreement that Gurbani does not directly tell you what to do and what not to do. So, the people start interpreting it their own way. And some of the offshoots of Sikhism actually came out of that lack of clarity about the message. And this hymn actually points out to that. This is the one that is quoted the most. So the fundamental question almost in every religion, what should be eaten, what should not be eaten, what should we drink, what we should not drink, what should we wear, what we should not wear, etc. Don'ts and do's. And everybody is kind of looking for a direct answer. But in Gurbani, there are no such direct don'ts and there are no such direct do's, except one, which is naam japna, bhakti karni. That's the only direct instruction. Rest is all given as a guidance, as a guideline. The other unique thing about this hymn is that there are 4 messages in it, and each message is followed by a how. A very important observation to note that after the guideline, Gurbani says, stop here, take a pause, think about it. So the very first one is about what should we eat or what should we not eat. Now, in certain religions, not only the specifics are so minute that they will tell you which animal to eat, which animal not to eat, not only that, which part of the animal should be actually given as a sacrifice to the temple and which part you can distribute among yourself. Gurbani does not subscribe to any such rituals. So in Shri Rag Mela Pehla, page 16, the first Rahao line is Baba Khur KhanaKhushi Khuar Jit khada tan piriye man mein chale bekar rahao. Take a pause here. Think about it. About what? The first mandate. Baba Khur KhanaKhushi Khuar. If you are asking me to give you the guideline, the edict as to what should I eat or what I should not eat, then here is the guideline for you. Jit khade tan piriye man mein chale vikar. Anything that you eat which will make body sick or make the mind go into the negative direction, you should shy away from that. You should not take that. So now, if we take a pause here, which is what is we are being told, or how, why not directly say it? So Gurbani will basically ask you, every human mind-body system is unique in terms of what it can tolerate, what it can digest, what it likes, what it doesn't like. So if you make a rule of some kind, that rule should be applicable to everyone, not just some. So if somebody says that we should not eat meat of animals because that would create the first condition, jit khadai tan piriya, the body might suffer because of that. Or man mein chale vikar, second condition also might be there, because you are putting the blood of the dead animal in your system. Fine, then somebody can turn around and say, when I eat so and so vegetable or so and so lentils, dal, etc., my body hurts, my stomach hurts. So what would you do with that then? So Gurbani is basically saying it is not a proper thing to do to set down a universal one thing fits to all, because there will be exceptions to everything. Let there be a universal test which everybody can apply. And what is that universal test? Jit khadde tan piriye man mein chale vikar. Anything to eat or to drink, if it is creating problem in your health and in your mind, don't do that. Okay. Now the hymn starts with Sabrat mithe maniye, suniye saal hone, khat tulsi mukh bolna, maran naad kiye, छत्ती अमृत भाव एक जाको नजर करे. सब रस मिठे मनिए. If we translate it literally using the words as they are, we will miss the message. Maniye literally means if we accept the existence of God within ourselves and we live according to His will, then sabra samitha, everything is going to be enjoyable. Very significant message that anyone who is actually leading the life according to his will, then whatever he takes is automatically going to look and sound and taste sweet, because he is becoming non-judgmental. Sabras mitha maniye, ye man liya, if the mind accepts the fact that he is and everything is his creation, then everything should be okay. Suniye salone, and if you want to look at the other side of it, sweet and the salty, it says if you hear his name and if you accept these hypotheses, this principle, then you have the variety also. सुनिए सालों ने खट तुलसी मुख बोलना, खट्टे मीठे, the tart. It says that when we say his name, when we sit in his meditation, bolna, when we say his word, then that adds a spice to the life. Maran naad kiye, maran means spices, masale. Then the sound that we are hearing and that we are creating in his memory, those are the spices in the food. Here is the summary of this. Chatti amrit bhav ek, jaako nazar kare. If his grace, his prasad is with you, then you know that being focused on one, bhav ek, focus on the one and the only one, when you are in that state of mind, then all the foods of various kinds, chatti amrit, 36 type of tastes are all included in that one single thought. And if you cannot go there and you think it is so difficult to achieve and you insist on a guideline, then here is the guideline. Baba, Khur KhanaKhushi Khuar, jit khade tan piriye man mein chalega. Every other type of eating eventually will lead to some discomfort in the mind-body system. So focus on his name, focus on his word, focus on his grace. Now the next lines are about clothes. Ratta panan manarata supedi satadan. Ratta. There are two words in Punjabi language, rangya te ratya. There is a difference in quality of both. Rang usually is of a temporary nature. It can be changed. It can be taken off. And ratta means when it is so permanent that it cannot be changed with anything. So that particular rang, that particular color, ratta, lal rang, the red color. What is the red color? It says manarata. When the mind is now completely covered with the color or shade of his name, then that is the true wearing of the cloth. Sapedi Satadan. When you are able to earn something and share with others, then that is wearing the white. Ratta panan manarata supedi Satadan neeli syahi kada karani. The blue is what? It says to wash away all the negative and aura and energy from yourself. Kalak nu kat dena. Syahi literally means black. And kada means kat dena, to wash it away. Neeli syahi kada karni. Peharan pair dhyan. Peharan means the long robe. To have the memory of his feet, his charan, is like wearing a long robe. Now, as I said in the beginning, these are similes and comparisons which are basically trying to connect us with the higher source and take the senses away from enjoying the lower sensual type of pleasures. So if you want to pay attention to as to why a particular simile is being used here, every single one have a deeper meaning to this. Aratta pen rang lal. Now, the red color, saffron color, these are the colors basically for the meditators. Why so? Because each color is associated with certain frequency. We all know that. The 7 shades, 7 colors in the white light, each has its own frequency, each has its own wavelength, and those who have done a research on these, they will tell you that if you paint your house with a particular shade, it will create this type of mood. It will help you in creating that type of mood. That's why the white color is being associated with Satadan, to give away. You cannot give away something unless you feel contented. That peacefulness inside you, that contentment inside you will encourage you to share. Neeli Syahi. Neela Rang, the blue color, has been associated with Islamic traditions. All of the people who go to Makkah normally will wear the blue robe. And what is being compared? Kada Karni, meaning Kalak Katni, to chop off the wrong aura, the black aura of the personality. Paharan Par Dhyan. Paharana means the long robe. Parada Dhyan. Why? Because that robe is so long that it covers the feet also. So if the feet are covered, you don't see them. Only way you can have the feet in your mind is through your own imagination. So, Kamar Band Santokh Ka Dhan Joban Tera Naam. On the dress, the Kamar Band literally means the piece of cloth that's normally tied around your waist. Kamar Band. What is that? Santokh, contentment. Because it is the contentment which keeps the mind-body system on the proper path. If we remember the Japavani, there also we were reminded that Daya Kampa, in Asadivar, Daya Kampa, Santokh Shoot, contentment, the dhaga, it keeps it tied up. And what is that Santokh? That is the Kamarband, that is around the waist. Dhan Joban Tera Naam, the youth, the wealth of the young age is what? Tera Naam. So, instead of counting them as sensual delights, Gurbani is painting a word picture and saying, Baba, और पैनल खुशी खुआर जित पैदे तन पीड़िए मन में चले विकार. Here is the test for you. If you cannot rise to that level, which is Ratta, Pen, Manarata, Supedi, Satdan, that should be your journey. If it isn't, and you insist on a guideline, well, here is a guideline. Baba or Pen and Khushi Khuar. Any type of dress which creates the tension in the mind-body system is useless. You should not wear it. Only in the past century, past 50 years or so, the tightness of the dress has become a fashion. Otherwise, earlier the clothing used to be loose. Why? Because the clothing purpose was to cover the body and present it in a modest way. Presentation of the body in a exciting, sensual way has only become popular in the last about 50 years. So you can see very well that if we are wearing very tight clothes, then any kind of control of the mind is going to become much more difficult. Similarly, if we want to sit down and do our Nam Abhyas, tight clothes will not help us. So that means they are creating the condition which Bani is saying, don't create, which is, Jit Pade Tan Piriya. If the body is hurting and mind is thinking of sensual and sexual dreams, then that dress is not for you. You shouldn't wear that. The young mind today might revolt against it, but then this is for those who want to walk on the path of bhakti, walk on the path of meditation. Now comes the rise. घोड़े पाखर सोहिने साकत बूझन तेरी वाट. Ghode, horse, you understand. Pakhar literally means the kathi, the saddle. Soine de hon, saddle. Sakti is, dumchi is in Punjabi, or those of you who have seen the Western movies, you know, they always had a little satchel which was filled with the stuff, and they would throw on the back of the horse on the both sides, and that is the sakate. Bujhan teri vaat. To discover the path which leads to you. So if you are discovering, if you are walking on the path, if you have bujhan, if you have actually solved that mystery, then all of these things are already included in it. Kode, pakhar, sonane, sakhat, bujhan, teri vaat. Teri vaat da bujh lena, tere raste de chalan da tarika lab lena. That is equivalent of horses and the saddles are made of gold and dunchiya full of wealth. They all are basically equivalent to the finding the path that leads to the ultimate enlightenment. Tarkash tir kaman sang teg band gunadhat. Tarkash. Tarkash literally means the container in which you put the arrows. In Punjabi that's called patha. Tir kaman. Sang literally means barshi. the dagger, long dagger. Tegband means gatra. The teg means the sword, and band means its cover. Tegband. Gatra ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੇ ਰੱਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ. So if you have the horse, now you're going to need all of these defensive things for you. What are they? They said gunadhat. To be motivated enough. Gunadhat का मतलब है उद्यम करना. To be motivated enough to walk on that path, because you have discovered what it is equivalent of what? Tarkash, Tir, Kaman, Sang, Teg, Band, Gunadhat. Vaja, Neja, Pat, Seum, Pargat, Karm, Tera, Meri Daat. All of those war sounding instruments, Nagare, Vaje, Pat, Seum. To be able to get to a stage where you are accepted and respected with His grace in His court, that is Meri Jaat. That's my real identity. Zaat da matlab jis kun vich paida hoya. These are the things that will define me, which is, once again, Kode Pakhar Soine Takat Bujjan Teri Vaat. To find the way to you, to discover that, to solve that mystery to you, coming to you, is actually represented by all of the horses, all of the golden saddles, and Tarkash, Tir, Kaman, Sang, Teg, Band, Gunadhat. Then to have the courage and the motivation to walk on that path is equivalent to Tarkash, Tir, Kaman, Sang. Vaja, Neja, Pat, Seum, Pargat, Karm, Tera, Meri Daat. All of the nice sounding instruments is actually to be able to become worthy of your karm, bakshish, your bakshish. That's my Meri Jaat. That's my nishani. That's my recognition. That's how I am identified. Baba, aur KhanaKhushi Khuar. Jit chadiye tan piriye man mein chale vikar rahao. So you see, Gurbani is answering every question by painting a word picture of the things that you can collect from outside to feel good about yourself and say, I'm eating this, I'm drinking that, I'm wearing this, I am riding on this type of ride. It's saying, for a meditator, for a bhagat, for a good Sikh, if he did those things which are mentioned here in the higher state of consciousness, that should be the journey. That should be the preference. But if it is not, there is not going to be any hard and fast rule drawn for you so that you can then go argue about it, that our religion allows to eat beef, the other religion allows to eat pork, and the other one don't allow anything. And then if you're going to the vegetarian, well, somebody is going to say don't eat anything which has roots, whether it is onions or whether this. You can go and it is almost nauseating how the society, without understanding the fundamental principle, has created these rules and regulations and exceptions to that. Sikhism avoids all of that. It's basically saying, here's a simple step. Watch whatever you are doing, whatever you're eating, whatever you're drinking, whatever you're wearing, whatever you're riding. What is it creating any tension in your mind or in your body? If it is, then what you are doing is not right. The last message in this 4 messages hymn घर मंदिर खुशी नाम की नजर तेरी परिवार. Now, how to be happy? What do we do? We say, well, you meet your family, you live in your family, you have a great home, and you feel good about it. But that's not what a meditator does. That's not what a bhagat does. What does bhagat do? Ghar mandar khush naam ki. If he is constantly in touch with his name, then he is getting much higher khushi, much higher happiness than meeting the physical family. Nadar teri parivar. If his grace is there, that grace will give you the type of khushi, the type of happiness that you have not ever tasted before. हुक्म सोई तुद भावसी हो आखन बहुत अपार. What's the next thing to make you feel good? So that you can order the others around. That your word becomes the final word. It's about that there are a gazillion type of Khuar aakhan bahut apar. People can make rules and regulation and order the people around to do this and don't do that, and this pleases me and this doesn't please me. That is not what is going to get you closer to him. What will get closer to him? Hukum soi tud bhavasi. Instead of you making your own rules and ordering, find the order that would please him. Find the instruction that will please him. And what is that? Well, we all know. He requires nothing from anybody. He asks nothing from anybody. He is basically saying, Gurbani is guiding us that you are in this physical form to complete a task, so get on with that task. And that's basically it. It doesn't matter to him. Je sab milke aakhan paaye, vada na hove ghat na jaye. He's not affected or impacted by what you do or what you don't do. Should be your anxiety, it should be your desire to get out of this cycle by completing the task that you have come to complete. So, rather than your own hukam, rather than your own will, follow his will. Hukam soi tud bhavasi aur aakhan bahut apar. Otherwise, there is no limit to it. Otherwise, there are absolutely no standard one law fit all type of process available anywhere in the world. Once you understand that, Nanak Sacha Padshah Pooch na kare vichar. Once you have understood, now stop arguing about it. Stop analyzing it to ad nauseum. Stop beating up every little nuance. Baba or KhanaKhushi Khuar. Sauna literally doesn't mean he is asleep. Sauna literally means to relax, to rest, to give the body its comfort. He says all other kind of comforts would be useless. Jit sutta tan pidiye man mein chale vikar raha. All those types of enjoyments, entertainments for the mind-body system would be a waste if they create tension in the mind-body system. So in this hymn, as I said earlier, it is complex. The similes are extremely rare, but the message remains the same, which is whatever you do, eat, sleep, drink, wear, ride, enjoy, so long as they are not making your mind-body system sick or filled with tension, you can continue doing that. If it does create that, and invariably you will notice that the majority of the things that we do, they lead to the mind-body tension. They lead to either physical body getting sick or the mind developing thoughts which are not very kosher, which are not very welcome type of thoughts. The next hymn on the same page builds on this thought and says, कुंगू की काया रत्ना की ललिता अगर वात तन साथ 68 तीर्थ का मुख टिक्का तितघट मत विगास ओतमती सालाना सच नाम गुणतास बाबा होर मत होर जैसा वेर कमाइए कूड़ा जोर. Now it is in the hymn that we first did was basically telling us what should be done, what rules to apply. But instead of applying the rule, we now go and collecting all of the physical pleasures and things, and Gurbani is saying, well look, if you do that, even if you reach this stage, which is Kungu ki kaya, Kungu mein kesar, saffron, okay, because the kesar is considered a kind of a holy color, a pure color. So if the body, mind-body system is that pure, Ratana ki lalita, lalita means the tongue, the jiva, and Ratana means the words, the diamond-like words, the gyan, that type of it. Agarvat tanasas, agarbatti, khushbu. And if the body, the breath is smelling of the fragrances, 68 तीर्थ का मुख टिका, 68 holy places have been visited and are visible because of the tikka mathe lagaya janda, because of the indication on your forehead. Tikghat mat vigas. Even if that is the type of karma you have, Ot mati salana sachanam guntas, with these type of things that you gathered, and you are claiming that you are Ot mati salahana, that I am doing the holy thing with that, I am in praise of God with these type of tools, then what is going to happen? Baba, hor, mat, hor. These type of intellects are too many. These types of things are all around. Jaisao ver kamaye kuda jo. Jaisao ver. If you continue doing that and it is not accepted by him, it would be equivalent of kuda jo. The same thought was repeated or said earlier in Jabbani, where it basically said, Je juguchare yaar ja hor dusuni hoye, nawa khanda janiye naal chale sab koye, changa na rakhaye ke jas kirat jagle, je tis nazar na avai ta vaat na puche ke. Is the same thought being repeated here in a much different word picture. Kungu ki kaya ratna ki lalata agar vaastan sa 68 तीर्थ का मुख टिक्का तितकट मत विगास ओतमती सालाना सच नाम गुणतास बाबा होर मत होर जे सौ वेर कमाइए कूड़ा जोर रहाओ. Take a pause here and think about what's being said. The only test whether you are doing the right thing or not is his acknowledgement, his acceptance, his grace. If it is not there, then no matter what you are doing, with how pure intentions you are doing, with how much things you are collecting around you, they are going to be completely waste. So, Gurbani continuously remind Gursikh that when you are on this path, all the things that are mentioned here would actually add to your ego. Say for example, you want to do arati and you need a plate, you need a thali. Now you can bring a thali of paper, glass, silver, gold, diamond rusted. Is there a limit to that? All you are looking for a thali. Once you go on that path, no matter what you do, how holy or expensive you feel within your own self, the fundamental test remains the same. Je sao ver kamaye kura jor raha. It's all going to be wasted. It's only creating a difference between you, is highlighting the difference between you and the other who cannot afford a golden plate to put the lamps in there and do the arti. So watch out for this. पूज लगे पीर आखिए सब मिले संसार नाव सदाए अपना होवे सिद्ध सुमार जे पत लेखे ना पवे सदा पूजा खुआर. पूज लगे पीर आखिए. Whole of the world might be calling you that you are Peer on the peak, you are the highest of the high, and everybody may be willing to worship you. पूज लगे. If you are being worshipped and people are calling you Peer, sab mile sansar, and everybody is in praise of you. Now sadaye apna hove siddh sumar, and your name may be known in the whole universe. People might be calling you Yogi and Siddh. But what is the test? Jaan pat lekhe na pave sabha puja Khuar. In reality, what you have done by doing all of this is, you have created your own problem. Sabha puja Khuar. Khuar literally means to be completely lost in the world. You cannot find your own home now. Khwari hona, that's literally is to get lost. Jaan pat lekhe na pave. If he is not accepting your service of this type, then it's a waste of time and effort. Well, how would we know? Is he accepting us or not? Well, here is the test for that. जिनको सतगुर थापया तिन मेट न सकै कोई. Here is the test. That your ego, your arrogance, everything is under complete control, and you are deserving of his grace. जिनको सतगुर थापया. Very important test. Jinko Satgur Thapya. If the Satgur, and we have talked about what is Satgur in Gurbani. This is not a person and this is not a Guru. Guru word is not the same thing as Satgur. Satgur mera sada sada na aave na jaye. वो अविनाशी पुरुष है, सब में रह समाये. That lieutenant of the highest of the high creative energy is named as Sadguru in Gurbani. So we need to keep that in mind when we look at these words. इससे करके when we were talking of the Anand Bani, रामकली आनंद विच आनंद भाया मेरी माए सदगुरु में पाया. That's what the Sadguru means. The first indication of the acceptance by the creative energy. That energy only comes to those Satgurta Bhaya Sahaj Seti Mane Vajiyan Valai. When the mind body system is in Sahaj. So if you are going in Sahaj, then you know that His grace is coming to you. नहीं था जहाँ पत लेखे ना पवे सभा पूज खुआर. Then you know that whatever you're doing, if you are not getting closer to the Sadguru Prasad, then you know that something is fundamentally wrong. And we have always talked about it, that no matter what routine you have, what karma kand kriya you have, if it is not helping you to control your anger, control your greed, control your lust, control your ego, then something is fundamentally wrong. It doesn't matter for how many years you have been following a particular path. And that's what Gurbani is reminding us here. Jinko Satgur Thapaya Tin Met Na Sakke Koe Ona Andar Naam Nidhan Hai Namo Pargat Hoye. They are now on the true path, and that true path will surely lead them to their ultimate aim, which is to end the cycle of life and death. So, Gurbani basically saying it is not how richly you can offer your services to the creative energy. It is basically how effectively you are managing your Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar. If you are managing it, then here is the indication for that. Jinko Sadguru Thapaya Tin Met Na Takkay Koe Ona Andar Naam Nidhan Hai Namo Pargat Hoye Nao Pujiye Nao Maniye Akhand Sada Sach Soye. So this is the sign of those who are getting ready to be graced by His. But then, if that's not the case, and this is happening, which is the last line, Kehu kher ye ta jiyo keha hoye, jaliyan sab syan bhaan uthi chalya roye, nanak naam visariye, dar gaya kya hoye. Those who have not understood this, but only remained in the intellectual and argumentative state of mind, what happened to them? Jaliyan sab se anpa. Why? Because all that is part of the senses, part of the memory. And we all know, Kehu kher alaye. The mind-body system came out of the dust and is eventually going back to the dust. When it is going back to the dust, it's taking all of the karmendriyas with it. The senses which are now helping us to enjoy the sensual delights of the Maya, they are going to be left alone on the ground, either burned or buried. So, if that is the end result of everybody, jaliyan sab siyanpa, then all that information collected would go to waste. Uthi chalaya roe. And then, on the way, suddenly this dawns on the traveler to the other dimension, and now he is repentful. Now he is feeling sorry for himself and for others who have not understood, and he now understands. And Gurbani says, Nanak naam visariya. If you have not understood the essence, if you have not understood the message, but only created artificial systems of thought, system of don'ts and do's, then dar gaya kya hoye? From there, nothing is going to help you. You are going to come back to repeat the same cycle all over again. So in today's two hymns, in Shri Rag Mehla Pehla, Gurbani is laying out the lifestyle, the life pattern, and is warning against only ritualistic aspects done with a pomp and glory, which would not be accepted there. What is accepted there is the humility. What is accepted there is the egolessness. What's accepted there is the contentment, sahaj,